Hello everyone. What is going on? Just Sack Pat here, and today I'll be looking at the top 10 sets that complement the Mandalorian. So without further ado, let's get into this then. In at number 10, I have chosen the Mos Eisley Cantina. The set that I will be looking at for this number 10 place is the latest version of the Mos Eisley Cantina, the UCS 2021, mainly because it's got so much detail. And the scope of it's huge. It's a great set. It's got loads of detail. As I say, it's pretty much to minifigure scale of what you'd expect Mos Eisley Cantina to be in Lego compared to the size of the minifigures. It's pretty much the size it would be in the Star Wars universe. So that is really, really cool. It's got that awesome Mos Eisley Cantina environment. You know, you've got loads of different chairs in there. You've got the bar. The bar's got so much detail, so many drinks. And the bartender actually has a little back room as well, which is really cool. Just amazing little details in there. A great variety of figures come with this set. You can really create that Mos Eisley environment with the scum and villainy, all them random characters. And obviously, you get the main Star Wars characters as well. Luke, Obi-Wan, Chewbacca, Han Solo, R2, and C-3PO. You also get a few cheeky speeders as well, which is very nice. You also get the Jara shop that you can attach to the side of Mos Eisley Cantina, so that is very, very nice as well. Just an awesome detailed set, but the reason it's solo on the list is because it only appears in one episode, where Mando meets that bounty hunter and they have to hunt down that assassin, and it doesn't appear on there for that long. But there has been a few changes to Mos Eisley when it features in The Mandalorian. For example, droids are allowed in there now that they have a droid serving behind the bar. In addition to the fact that there aren't many bounty hunters there anymore, and smugglers and scumbags and all that jazz. It's become a nicer eating establishment. And for all those reasons, that is why it is number 10. In at number 9 is the Sandcrawler. So there have been multiple Sandcrawler sets. I think the most complimentary one to the Mandalorian though is the UCS one in 2018. You get 4 Jawas that have 2 different printing patterns among other minifigures. In my opinion, it's very well designed, looks accurate to the actual Sandcrawler, and it's heavy, sort of heavy-ish, so the treads move very nicely on the surface, and it is the most detailed inside. But it's 9th place because it only appears in one episode in Chapter 2. It might have appeared in Chapter 3, I can't remember. Well, Episode 2 or 3. Actually, it does appear in a flashback in Season 2. But another reason it only makes 9th place is because, in my opinion, it didn't have a massive impact on the story. I know there's not a lot you can do with a big, massive sandcrawl that goes really slowly. But it just wasn't in the story that much, and as I said, it didn't have a big impact on the story, so that's why it gets 9th place. In at number 7 is the Turbo Tank. I picked the set from 2010, the Clone Wars one. I think it looks great, it rolls easily, and you get a good variety of minifigures and good playability mechanics as well. In the Mandalorian story, the Turbo Tank appears in one episode, and it has a fairly big part in the episode, and is quite significant to the story, as Migs Mayfield and Mando hijack it and are using it to infiltrate the base to acquire the coordinates of Moff Gideon's ship. And there is an awesome action scene with the turbo tank as well, when the pirates try and blow it up and Mando has to stop them. It's just absolutely awesome, and it makes 8th place on the list. In at number 7 is the T-16 Skyhopper versus the Bantha Microfighter set. Now, obviously, it's not the Skyhopper that we're looking at. No, it's your boy, the Bantha, and the Tuscan Raider. The Tuscan Raider minifig looks cool and only has a slight change in pattern on the torso and the back from the previous minifigure. And the Bantha has good colouring. This is the first Bantha we've got from Lego, so that's awesome. The Tuscan Raiders appear in 2 episodes so far. The previous one is when Mando and the bounty hunter are searching for that assassin on Tatooine. And Mando says to the bounty hunter, you've got to give them your electric binoculars, otherwise they won't let us past. And they also appear in episode 1 of season 2, and they have a lot of significance in this story. The Tuscan Raiders and the villagers have to team up to take down this massive monster that terrorises the village, and I'm assuming has terrorised the Tuscan Raiders as well. So it was that they have a massive significance in this story, and obviously the Banthas are used as bait. So yeah, they've got a massive significance in this story. but it's only at number 7 because they don't appear in loads and loads of episodes, and the Microfighter set is quite small and doesn't have a lot to it. Next on the list is the Atst. The set I will pick for this that is most complementary to The Mandalorian is the 2016 one. And honestly, when it comes to complementing The Mandalorian, I think it does a good job because the Atst has a massive, massive impact on the story, and it's such a big part of the episode. The villagers have to take down this massive Atst that has been, you know, dictating their village pretty much. The people controlling the Atst have pretty much been dictating their village. I'm pretty sure it's pirates or whatever, them sort of people. And there's a big deal made out of it, and they have to train to be able to beat this massive Atst. So, as much as I'm not really bothered about the episode itself, apart from Cara Dune's character introduction and having her in the episode because she's a good character, I do think this set is very complimentary to The Mandalorian, mainly because the Atst has such a big part of the story. In at number 5, I have picked the XWing. There's been multiple XWing sets, and the one that I think is most complementary to The Mandalorian is the one from 2012, mainly because you get 2 pilots with it. And I know there isn't always 2 pilots, but there's usually, not in one X-Wing, but it makes more sense than having one pilot or having Luke, Leia, and somebody else. It makes more sense having another pilot because it's usually a random pilot piloting it, isn't it? Until the season finale, you get Luke roll up in an X-Wing, which is really awesome. And the X-Wings appear loads of times in the show, and they have a decent amount of story significance. Obviously, in the Prisoner episode, the X-Wings come in and blow up that docking bay that was going to shoot at Mando. And they also show up in episode 2 of season 2. They follow Mando onto the planet and shoot at him, and then they come and save him from the spiders. And Luke shows up in an X-Wing at the end of the season finale of season 2. So for all those reasons, I think it deserves to be at this spot on the list. In at number 4, I have chosen the TIE Fighter, and the set I've chosen is the one from 2018. I put this at number 3, mainly because it's the most recent big TIE Fighter, while the 2021 is pretty small. The TIE Fighter shows up in a bunch of episodes and has a big impact in the story, which makes sense, as the Empire are the main bad guys in The Mandalorian. And the TIE Fighter is one of their main starfighters that they use in battle, so it makes a lot of sense. And they usually have a big impact on the story, as I say. Sometimes the TIE Fighters are trying to kill our heroes, our protagonists, most of the time, but sometimes the TIE Fighters do help out, like in Season 2, Episode 7, when the pilots of the TIE Fighters thought that Migs and Mando were somebody else, which obviously they appear to be because they have their Imperial attire, because they're trying to infiltrate the base. And the TIE Fighters also help them in the Season 2 finale when they think that the Imperial shuttle is on their side and Boba Fett is shooting at the Imperial shuttle. So the TIE Fighters come out and help our protagonists then. Obviously Boba Fett is just doing that as a ploy to fool the Empire. But in my opinion, the TIE Fighter's best appearance is in the Season 1 finale when Moff Gideon's flying around and Mando has to jetpack up there and take down the TIE Fighter. I think that was just an amazing, phenomenal action scene, and I absolutely love it. So that's why it gets this spot on the list. In at number 3 is Boba Fett's Slave 1. It shows up loads in The Mandalorian Season 2 as it's Boba Fett's ship. There's been loads of Slave 1s made, but in my opinion, I'd recommend getting the latest one, the 20th anniversary one, because it's the most pleasing build in my opinion, and it's got the most minifigures with it as well, and there's a couple of really awesome exclusive minifigures in there too. In the Mandalorian story, the Slave 1 helps out loads with the main characters coming in to save the day. The main reason it makes it this high on the list is because of its design. I absolutely love it. And it's quite iconic in Star Wars in general. I know the other ones are iconic, like the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing and other vehicles on the list, but the thing is with this, it's quite exclusive. Like, it's exclusive to Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Same with how the Millennium Falcon's exclusive to Han Solo, so that's why it makes it this high on the list. In at number 2 is the Imperial Speeders. You always see Scout Troopers on them. So the set that I'd recommend getting, and the set that I think is most complementary to The Mandalorian, is the speeder bikes from 1999. You get 2 Scout Troopers, 2 speeder bikes, and a Luke Skywalker figure as well. Obviously, as this is an old retired set, it does cost quite a bit of money. But it's not about how much it costs. That's not what this list is about. It's about what I think is the most complimentary to the Mandalorian series, and I just feel like this set is. The speeders appear in Season 2, Episode 4, and they also appear in Series 1, Episode 5, 7, and 8. In Episode 7, they have a big impact at the end because they kill Q, whatever his name is, you know, the small guy voiced by Nick Nolte, the I have spoken guy, that cool dude. And the Scout Troopers on the speeder bikes also take Baby Yoda, so they have a big impact on the story. And in Season 1, Episode 5, as much as I wasn't really that fussed about that episode, they use it to hunt down the assassin Fennec. Mando and the bounty hunter use it to get from point A to point B, so a decent impact on the story. And for all those reasons, it makes it at number 2. Rightio, so here is a quick honourable mention. I have decided to put Jabba's Palace as an honourable mention because you see it at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2. But the big problem is, why I couldn't put it on this top 10 is because you only see it for a minute. It does have a bit of an impact on the story, but not a massive impact. It's just setting up where Boba Fett is going to go next. And he takes over Jabba's palace. Well, now it's Bib Fortuna's palace. He takes over Bib's palace, and he's in charge of the criminal underworld now in the Star Wars universe. Oi oi, congratulations, Boba. But the set itself also doesn't include Boba Fett, which is a bit annoying, really. But hey ho, there you go. It's just a cheeky honourable mention. Now, on to number 1. In at number 1 is the Mandalorian Battle Pack. Now, both of them are really, really cool. The first one in 2011 is more of a traditional battle pack because the minifigures look the same, and the speeder and the turret match the colour scheme of the minifigures a lot more. But, in my opinion, the 2021 is a lot more complementary to the Mandalorian because all the figures look different, and in Mandalorian, the other Mandalorians all look significantly different. In the Mandalorian, most of them have been killed off and there aren't many left. So, for the fallen Mandos, go get yourself a Mandalorian 2020 battle pack. No paid promotion, obviously. No, but all jokes aside, if there was a battle pack with Bo-Katan and her friends, or a big set with them in, I'd definitely pick that up and put this at number 1 instead, because those lot have a really big impact on the story. A massive one. And they talk loads more, and as I say, they're involved a lot more. So, that gets number 1 for me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. I really hope you have. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Ciao.